Welcome to Studio D on the campus of the University of Oklahoma. This is Sooner Sports Pad. And now, here's your host, Madeline Roberts.
Hello and welcome to Sooner Sports Pad. I'm your host, Madeline Roberts, alongside my fantastic co-analysts, Reagan, Ledbetter, and Kenneth, Adair. We also have a very loud live studio audience with us this evening. Guys, who do we have in there?
Well, first of all, we've got some rough and rowdy members from Young Life. Welcome, guys. They are insane all day, every day.
Yes, we do. We also have two special guests, two national champ gymnasts, Yul Moldauer and Levi Anderson, with us tonight.
Big guests, really big guests. And later on in the show, you will hear us talk about OU going down to Dallas to face off in a big rivalry game against Texas, the Red River rivalry, where they left Dallas victorious.
And we'll also get into a look at one of the highlights of OU Texas weekend. That's the Texas State Fair.
Well, the Red River Showdown was last weekend, and per usual, that game was a competitive one. The Sooners struck first on a 54-yard touchdown pass from Baker Mayfield to Jeff Badette, and quickly went up 20-0 on Texas. However, the Longhorns hung around. Kyle Porter caught a 16-yard touchdown pass from Sam Ellinger late in the second quarter. And in the fourth, the Longhorns took a 1-point lead on an Ellinger 8-yard rushing touchdown. But then Mark Andrews happened. He came in clutch. The junior scored on a 59-yard touchdown reception to seal the win for the Sooners, 29-24, and redeem the Sooners after last week's loss at Iowa State. Reagan, after a bit of a lackluster performance against Iowa State last weekend, what did you see from the offense in Dallas?
Well, after the upset last week against Iowa State, the Sooners came out on fire actually down in Dallas against those Texas Longhorns. Baker wasted little time as he connected with Jeff Badette for a 54-yard score on the Sooners' first possession. A big play for the Sooners. OU then took a 14-0 lead on a big score from Rodney Anderson up the middle, crawling to the end zone. Big score for Rodney Anderson, a guy who's finally getting back in the action for the Sooners. They did actually struggle to find the end zone in the second half, but Austin Seibert made up for it with his leg, adding 3 field goals, tying a career high to keep the Sooners in it before they ended up doing it. But Trey Sermon, the kid, continued his tear. Trey Sermon, 20 carries, 96 yards. That big reverse pass from Trey Sermon to Marquise Brown was a huge play for the Sooners. And then 2 more catches for 11 yards. Trey Sermon continues to light it up for the Sooners, and he's only a freshman.
Nobody saw that pass coming either.
You know, he's such a mature player. It's amazing.
They had a freshman sensation in Samaje, and now they have Trey Sermon to
and
replace.
Joe Mixon as well.
And Joe Mixon. Well, on the other side, the question was how this defense would perform, especially after a tough loss against Iowa State and a tough game against the Baylor Bears. But they did edge out the Longhorns, and they got the job done. So that's pretty much all that matters. Going into it, they didn't allow a point until late in the second half. So they had a really good first half, just like the OU offense did as well. And in the second half, the offense struggled and so did the defense. But overall, this team had a lot of positive outlooks throughout this game. The secondary stepped up. Parnell Motley had a big game, allowed 1 big pass, but other than that, really showed out. Jordan Thomas came out and played like we all know he can. We all love to watch him when he's in his prime, and he did that this past weekend. Then the linebackers are always consistent. Emmanuel Bill, Caleb Keller, they're always good. Kenneth. And then you got Obo, who was in the backfield all day, pressured the quarterback about 5 or 6 times, and got a sack, strip fumble in the first quarter. But then they had 3 sacks. He had 1, and then a couple others had 3, 2 more, and then 3 forced fumbles, 4 tackles for loss, and they only held the running backs to 29 yards. A few more stats, they only allowed 3.6 yards per carry. That's good. They allowed 6.7 yards per pass. That's incredible. So although it wasn't an overall great game, nonetheless, they had a lot of positives to take from this Texas victory.
Needed a boost after the last couple of weeks, and they finally got that. That's key heading into the next couple of games.
Yes, it is.
Well, another guy that really showed out in this game was Baker Mayfield. And earlier today, Sooner Sports Pad's Carson Williams caught up with Mayfield to talk about Saturday's performance.
I think we bounced back pretty well, but the most important thing for us was handling the adversity throughout the game. You know, there was ups and downs, and offensively we could have had more touchdowns instead of field goals, but we handled it well, and so did the defense. I think they played great, and so for us as a team, we handled the adversity well, which is something we did not do well against Iowa State. So overall, I think we did pretty good.
What was the atmosphere like Saturday compared to other OU Texas games?
It was very electric. It was one that I think was important for our younger guys to see. You know, maybe in a couple of years past it hadn't been as electric and the crowd wasn't as into it, but it was a great game, obviously, so the crowd was into it the whole time, and I think it was a great atmosphere.
What was going through your mind after that last go-ahead touchdown that ended up being the game winner?
That we need to take care of the ball the next time we got it. Even if Texas had scored, we still need to go out and do our job. And so it was about, it doesn't matter what the score is. We still had to go out and execute no matter what it was.
2 years ago in Manhattan, you go in there and blank them 55-0. What do you guys need to do this week to make sure that happens again or something similar?
We got to have a great week of practice. Got to move on from a big win on Saturday, and got to focus on the next one. For us, playing a team that's always well coached and ready to go, they're going to give us their best shot. And so for us, it's about having a great week of practice and translating that directly to the game field.
All right, Baker, appreciate it.
Well, we've talked a lot about football, but guys, what other Sooner sports have been in action recently?
Well, the OU volleyball team made the long trek to Morgantown, West Virginia. We've been there, and it's a long ways to go. But unfortunately, they suffered a 3-1 loss to the Mountaineers. They actually won the first set of the match, but ended up losing the next 3, and just kind of a tough night for the Sooners. Junior Audrey Alford notched a double-double with 36 assists and 11 digs. So a highlight from that. But the Sooners are back in action on Wednesday night as they head to TCU for a Big 12 matchup.
Yeah, another OU team that's been struggling a bit, or I say a bit loosely, they've been struggling a lot. Haven't had a win since September 10th. That's the OU soccer team. They've had a lot of losses and a few ties, which if you're a fan base, a teammate, or a coach, you really don't want to see that. And they faced that future opponent for the volleyball team, TCU, this past Friday and lost 2-0. Their offense just hadn't really been able to get anything clicking. Defensively, they haven't kept the ball on offense, so defense has had to play a lot more. But they do face Kansas. They're back on the field this Friday. They face Kansas Jayhawks. And if Kansas is anything like their football team, then the OU soccer team has a really good chance to win this game. So hopefully they can end their hopefully they can end their back half of the season on a very high note.
The soccer team has a great defense. I mean, they blank a lot of teams, but their inability to score goals is what's really killing them.
That's what's really kept them back.
Going forward, for sure. Well, it is time for a break, but when we come back, we'll have face-off. Stay with us. Welcome back to Sooner Sports Pad. It is now time for Reagan and Kenneth to face off. Guys, who are your MVPs for the week?
Well, OU Texas is not your ordinary football game, so I thought I'd go something a little different for my pick. Not a player. How about the head man, Lincoln Riley, as my MVP? This is Lincoln's first OU Texas as the head man, and he showed no fear with his play calling. Look at that. A 4th and 1, Dimitri Flowers, and then calls a reverse pass. Trey Sermon and Marquise Brown, shocking literally everybody for 42 yards to put them down in the red zone. Big play for Lincoln right there. And then he calls an out and up to Mark Andrews to put the Sooners back up. A big play, 59 yards to the house. To the house. Big play for Lincoln. Good start to the rivalry for the young ball coach. Look at that.
I wish we had a little bit of VO or video of him like drawing up plays or something like that.
I asked Baker a couple weeks ago, who's the bigger risk taker? And he said Lincoln.
He said Lincoln. That's
we
debatable.
all saw it right there.
That's debatable. We did see it. Now, Lincoln's an offensive guy, so I'm going to keep it on the offense. I'm going to pick a guy whose name should be brought up every week, but it's kind of been under the radar for the season so far. Mark Andrews. Big day, big game. Played exceptionally well for the Sooners, especially for this rivalry. He had an incredible game. In the first half, Baker hit him a couple of times that really kept the drives going, especially like you see on this 3rd and 8. It really helped the team out. And then in the second half, in the fourth quarter when it counted most, that's where Baker really depended on Mark Andrews, and he stepped up big time. He had 4 catches, not that big of a deal, but 104 yards. And then one of the biggest play of the game was that 59-yard touchdown pass, which ended up being the game-winning touchdown. So that's why he's my MVP, because he won the game pretty much for this Oklahoma team.
I'm with Nina, and she has an audience question for you guys.
Other than Trae Young, which OU basketball player are you most excited to see this year?
Phenomenal question. Well, I think it is safe to say that we are all excited to watch Trae Young finally play basketball here in Oklahoma, here at OU. But I'm going to have to go with a guy who will actually accompany him in the backcourt, and that is Cameron McGusty, a guy who had a great season last year. These are both preseason all Big 12 selections. It was a rough season last year for the Sooners, but he actually led the Sooners, or the returning Sooners, in points per game with 11. He also added 15 multi-point or double-digit scoring games in Big 12 play. All of the focus will be on Trae Young in the backcourt. This gives him a chance to really be a star for the Sooners, for Lon Kruger and the Sooners squad. I think Cameron Augustus, at 6'5", his ability to drive to the net is impressive.
Great athlete. One of the best I've seen in a while, especially for the Sooner basketball team. A guy I'm looking forward to seeing the most. He was compared to Buddy his freshman year. I think he's more athletic, but he's still got a ways to go with talent-wise.
That's a bold statement.
It is. He's more athletic. He's not as great as Buddy was. But his sophomore year, the pressure kind of got to him. I'm talking about Christian James. He is a really great athlete, really great player. And I talked to his teammates in the offseason, and they said he absolutely destroyed overseas. I mean, he was so dominant. He was a highlight reel. They said overseas in the offseason, he could not miss. Now, my only thing is if he can do it in the offseason, I need him to do it during the season when NCAA play starts. And if he's able to do that with Cameron McGusty and with Trae Young, then this team's going to be a team to watch out for, not only in the Big 12, but in the entire
If Christian
country.
James can shoot the three ball like he did his freshman year, that's going to be a key asset for the Sooners.
And he's just his body build gives him so much more ability to
more athletic than Buddy Hield?
Yeah, I think so. I think he can dribble a little bit better, and overall an athlete, he's great.
He's the best player in the country.
Yeah. Okay, player and athlete, a little bit different.
All right,
guys.
Always have those.
Show me your viral videos.
All right, well, I picked my viral video actually quite a while ago this week. That was until I was watching my Steelers yesterday. My beloved Steelers. And Antonio Brown made a, let's say, amazing catch up the sideline and for a touchdown. Makes it look easy to put the Steelers up 9 points and seal the win and knock off the Chiefs' perfect season. Look at this play. Covered up, does the impossible. Look at this. The ball goes through the defender's hands. Antonio stops, reaches out with one arm. Does things only Antonio can do. And if I get any shot to put him in the show, I'm going to do it. And that's what I did.
It's even better that it's your Steelers.
Steelers, Antonio Brown, you can't beat that.
Once he gets into the open field, I mean, there's just no stopping him.
Best receiver in the league.
That's a bold statement.
Just saying.
I guess we're just full of bold statements today. Well, mine is about a running back who used to play for OU, who got traded from New Orleans all the way past Texas to Arizona and played for the Cardinals. He had debut this past Saturday. Yeah, I did. I always have to mention my state. He had a big day, and he also had a really big play. So let's just take a look. All right, jump cut, finds a seam, first to it, and then puts on the Jets and see you later. Adrian Peterson. He kneels down after he gets in the end zone and thanks the heavens above that he was able to get there. I mean, this guy, I predict him to be a top 5 back every season. New Orleans didn't use him right, and I'm not proud of that because I was very hopeful for that.
The weirdest part about that video is watching him wear 23 and not 28.
Well, if we think about basketball, he wants to be the greatest in football, and the greatest in basketball wore 23. So, I mean, and he is all day.
Okay.
So, I think he's the best ever OU running back. He could be in the NFL.
Can't argue with that logic.
Whatever you say, Kenneth.
I'm all
It
over
is
the
now
place.
time to vote for the winner of Face Off. Cheer the loudest for who you think won. Give it up if you think it was Reagan. Okay, not bad. How about Kenneth? Sorry, Reagan. Kenneth takes this one.
No, I don't want to be roommates with you anymore.
Well, it is now time for another
Wait, we
break.
gotta be better than
but
Baker and
when we come back, we'll take an inside glimpse at the Texas State Fair.
Special thanks to our cornerstone television partners, Chesapeake Energy, Riverwind Resort, Anheuser-Busch, OU Outreach, and OU Medicine.
Welcome back. 2 days ago, thousands of Sooner fans attended the Red River Showdown, as well as the Texas State Fair next door. Sooner Sports Pad's Shiloh Sellers gives us an in-depth look at that historic tradition.
With over 100,000 attendees, the Texas State Fair is the largest in the nation. earning nearly $55 million. The State Fair, as a nonprofit organization, donates the money to better their community and further the education of the inner city youth. For one weekend out of the month the fair is running, Sooner fans and Longhorn fans clash together for the rivalry of the season, the Red River Showdown. While taking a break from the rivalry, fans can enjoy various rides such as fun houses, swings, and my favorite, the Love Bug, or they can take a stroll down the Super Midway for plenty of games in order to win fun prizes. Between the games, rides, and the food, it's safe to say everything's bigger in Texas. Shiloh Sellers, Sooner Sports Pad.
Well, it is that time of the year again. Sooner basketball is right around the corner. And as we speak, the guys are at Campus Corner filming their intro video for the season, and plenty of Sooner fans are in attendance. And just a few moments ago, Sooner Sports Pad's Carson Williams caught up with head coach Lon Kruger.
Yeah, a lot of fun. Hopefully, really appreciate the fans coming out. I know our players enjoy it, and should be a fun evening.
What do you think it's going to be like for the fans being able to be on that intro video and being involved with it all right here?
Hopefully good. We want to obviously share that moment with the fans, and the intro video, if they can jump on there and be a part of that, that helps everyone.
And now let's hear from our in-studio guests, Yul Moldauer and Levi Anderson.
Back again, boys.
That's a round of applause.
Is this 3 times, 4 times? Come here a lot.
It's coming, yeah. Same amount of championships.
You guys are coming off another championship. Speaking of that, how was the off season?
Pretty crazy. It's been a grind. We got a couple few freshmen, Gage, Dyer, Alosh Fernayev, and Davis Grims.
Yeah, and we both of us actually had a little bit of experience getting to go international over the summer as well, so that was fun. Represent something bigger than the university. We got to represent Team USA, so that was a lot of fun as well for both of us.
And after winning another national championship, where is your focus at during the off season?
Ooh, good question. It's just kind of, we reset everything. We're back at 0, and we got to work our way back up to another national championship.
Yeah, I think what he said kind of says it all. I mean, no matter what, whatever season we're coming off of, we always look at it as we are now at the bottom of the totem pole, and we got to get back up to the top. We never just assume that we're the best team. Matter of fact, nothing's proven until that night at NCAA. So we look at it like that from preseason, off season, all the way through. So
hard work pays off.
All right, Yul, you medaled last week at the World Championships. How was that experience?
It was pretty crazy. It was my first Worlds. I actually brought the medal.
Not everybody can do that.
But I can't take all the credit. A lot of work with my coach, Mark Williams, Taki Abdullah-Simmons, and Steve Legendre, and even my team. They really helped me get prepared for this event, and it was really big. It was probably the biggest competition I've ever been in. I had to learn a lot of things, like controlling my nerves and just get in the zone.
And you mentioned some of the new young guys, the fresh faces on the teams. You are leaders now, even more so. So what are some of the pieces of advice that you give them?
I think one of the biggest things is almost forget what you learned in high school, because college gymnastics is a completely different ball game. It's almost like stepping from a college sports team here to the professional league. It's almost the same thing. So we kind of tell them just like come in open mindset and be ready to bite down on the program, because that's what makes us different than every other program. Is literally just the way that Mark builds us up. He breaks us down to build us back up just the way he wants us, and it works. And you don't fix something that isn't broken. So.
Good answer.
All right, Madeline has an audience question for you guys.
All right, Nina has a question for the two of you.
What will you miss most about being a Sooner?
Oh, that's a tough one. There's going to be a lot to miss about being a Sooner. I mean, there's no greater feeling than being a Sooner. But I think what's going to be one of the biggest things that I'm going to miss is being able to walk around wearing OU on the chest every day and knowing that I am currently representing the greatest university in the country.
David Bourne loved that answer. What about you?
You know, it's pretty much the same thing, but it is a huge honor. Just, you know, the athletics and even the academics here, they really work well with you. So just knowing that you have so much help, and even the fans and the people and even the students here are just amazing people.
Great answers, guys. Great answers. Well, it is time for another break, but don't go anywhere because Dynamic Duos is up next. Yul a series of questions, and now Levi will try to answer them. Levi, how do you think you're going to do?
I mean, we're pretty known for being good at this because we've been on the show a couple times.
That's true.
We've been roommates for 3 years, so we'll see how this goes.
All right, question number 1. What is Yul's favorite show to binge watch? Is it A, Friends, B, This Is Us, C, The Office, or D, Game of Thrones?
No, it's easy. We both cried a couple times actually watching This Is Us together, so I'm going to go with This Is Us. Yeah, watch it. You got to watch it.
Question number 2. What is Yul's favorite gymnastics event? Is it A, vault, B, pommel horse, C, parallel bars, or D, floor?
I was upset that beam wasn't on there, but I'm going to go with P-bars out of those. He does like
P-bars?
playing around on the beam, though.
There you go.
Good job. Question number 3. If Yul could play another sport besides gymnastics, which sport would he play? Is it A, tennis, B, football, C, soccer, or D, golf?
I'm going to go with football, but you could be the ball. Let's be real.
Well, that is all the time we have for you today. Thank you for watching Sooner Sports Pad. Be sure to be back here next Monday, same time, same place.